Hey Steelers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into today's video. We're going to jump into the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news and rumors. Some juicy stuff going on today. I mean, we got some news this week, starting with the story you've probably seen unless you live underneath a rock, and that is that Big Ben is slim now. Big Ben has lost weight, and Big Ben is the most motivated he's been in his 18 years, the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh. Like, what is this story? Very bizarre stuff right now. There's a reporter, Ryan Burr, who has this whole story and talks about how Big Ben has lost a lot of weight, and the big thing that I saw was that Big Ben has a stricter diet right now than Tom Brady, the TB12 method. I mean, what do we call the Big Ben method? The Slim Ben 7? Like, that sounds terrible. TB12, right? The fact is a stricter diet than Tom Brady, who, like, doesn't drink caffeine, doesn't drink alcohol, and eats, like, terrible tasting avocado ice cream. I mean, that's some big stuff. Apparently, according to the report, Big Ben is tired of the blame he gets from the Steelers in terms of Steeler fans and the National Football League whenever they struggle or lose, which is... Again, it's just a weird story all the way around. Let's start with CBS Sports' write-up on this, because they have a very good, I think, overall breakdown of the Burr article and everything that's happening right now. Throw it up on your screen. So, quote, according to reporter Ryan Burr, the 39-year-old single caller has prioritized physical conditioning ahead of the new season, to the point his diet is stricter than that of Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady, who is, of course, famous for his rigid nutritional regimen. Burr cites a source from Roethlisberger's camp in suggesting the quarterback is obsessed with his new workout plan in an effort to prove naysayers wrong entering 2021. It continues. We'll throw that up. Quote, Ben will never mention the beating he has taken in the media, Burr tweeted Tuesday, but a source says from a dedication standpoint, he has never seen anything from Ben close to this in the past. He has been so driven since the season ended, Roethlisberger, Burr added, is tired of the blame he gets for Pittsburgh's shortcomings and the reputation he has among some league circles as an out-of-shape athlete, end quote. Okay, there are a couple ways to look at this, right? Number one, you could sit back and you go, oh, this is good, right? Big Ben motivated, right? You know, for maybe final year is going to be his best year. He's got all these weapons around him. Matt Canada, he's going to be healthy. And then there's the logical take, which is, why did this take so long? Like, I mean, seriously, as much as we like Big Ben, and as grateful we are for 2 Super Bowls from Big Ben, you've been in the league for, I mean, forever, almost as long as I've been alive. I mean, 18 years old, I'm 25, but still, he's been in the league for a long time. Why did this take so long? Like, it's not like the Steelers have been, super successful every single year in terms of they win Super Bowls and win AFC title games and win the division. Like, they've been successful, but is Big Ben just now getting sensitive towards the media blaming him? He was blamed a lot last year, but it's not like he has never not been blamed during his career. Why the focus now? And again, maybe he could get away with it when he was 31 years old in terms of the body being a little bit overweight because he was such an athlete, such a freak, and just needed to kind of rumble around in the pocket and make throws down the football field to Hines Ward. But still, it's just weird that it comes now. Now, again, are we going to sit back now and be upset at this? No, and I think that you can be in terms of the fact that it's weird that it's happening at this point in his career, but this is a positive. And Big Ben, at least finally, has figured out that being in shape is kind of a big deal, and maybe with watching Tom Brady's longevity playing until he's hopefully 45 years old, if you're a Brady fan, shows that Big Ben, maybe he can extend his career. Maybe this is a sign that if he plays well this year and stays healthy, he could sign on for a couple more years in Pittsburgh. A lot of people think he's going to retire after this year. I think that, but still, it's just a weird overall story and one that, the national media is running with right now. But again, it's not a bad thing. It's just a weird thing that it would happen at this point in his career. I mean, we should all focus on looking slim and looking svelte, but it's like, waiting until after you get dumped by your girlfriend until you start, looking great when you could have done it before, and then your girlfriend might not have dumped you, right? I mean, it's just a weird overall story here, but one to keep an eye on. I think training camp, we're going to see a lot of pictures, and maybe we're going to see a slim Big Ben, right? You get the first training camp pictures of Big Ben, and it's like, ooh, wow, that Steeler jersey looks pretty good on him. I guess we're going to find out here over the next couple of days. I'll ask you guys this, though. Will Big Ben be better or worse in 2021 than he was in 2020? Because that's the question, right? He was 33 touchdowns last year, almost 4,000 yards. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't great, but still, better Big Ben coming, worse Big Ben coming. Let me know what you guys think down below. B for better, W for worse. I want to hear from you guys. All right, before we're going to keep going here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. As a lot of you guys are watching these videos. I mean, we are popping off right now on YouTube, but we need some subscribers too, right? So go down below and subscribe. That way you can be notified and be a part of the fastest growing, in my opinion, Steelers Talk YouTube channel here on the platform. And so go down below and hit that red subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it. It would help us grow at even better rates to get you guys more great Steelers content as the season gets closer and closer to starting. All right, jumping into some more Pittsburgh Steelers news and rumors here on a Thursday. And this one is something that you've seen in the national media, but it has impacts trickling down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think we can cross off Richard Sherman as a free agent addition. We talked about this a couple of days ago in terms of, and the Steelers have almost $14 million in cap space. They could use a cornerback. Richard Sherman remains unsigned. Well, if you've seen the news recently, you understand that this is no longer an option. We'll explain why. So Sherman, according to multiple reports, was arrested on burglary and domestic violence charges a couple of nights ago and remains currently in custody. We're not able to post bond. It's something that I believe what I was reading is that's due to the domestic violence nature of the allegations and the charges. So he remains in custody right now. And as you sit back here, you go, okay, this is an interesting story from a personal standpoint, but how does it affect Pittsburgh? Well, again, Pittsburgh, in terms of the cornerback depth chart, we'll show you in a second, could use a little bit of help, but now you can no longer get help from Sherman because we don't know how long he's going to be incarcerated, as well as the NFL disciplinary aspect of this whenever he does get out of jail. So here's the ESPN write-up, give you a little more details on what's going on here with Sherman in case you have not seen it. Throw it up on the screen. Quote, Redmond Police Department Chief Darren Lowe said at a news conference Wednesday that Sherman also faces charges of suspicion of resisting arrest and malicious mischief. In addition, Washington State Patrol Captain Ron Mead said at the news conference that his department is also ready to refer Sherman to prosecutors for possible misdemeanor DUI and hit-and-run charges related to a separate incident Wednesday. Sherman sustained minor lacerations to a lower leg and ankle and was treated at a local hospital as a result of contact from a police dog, which was used in his apprehension, Lowe said. An officer at the scene also received minor injuries, he said, end quote. So there's a lot of details that are continuing to come out about the Richard Sherman situation. There's now a 911 call. You can listen to that if you Google it. It's pretty scary stuff. Sherman talking about, I believe, wanting to kill himself and talking about being drunk, and his wife was on the phone, obviously making the phone call. It's really a sad situation, and one if you want to read up on and get more details. But there's a lot going on right now in terms of the Richard Sherman instance. Now, again, you say, Thomas, why does this matter, right? Why does this matter in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, I think because we've talked a lot about potentially signing a free agent cornerback. Like Steven Nelson is probably not coming back, and he's the best free agent cornerback out there as you look at our list. But other than Nelson, you remove, the former arguably best cornerback in the league back in his day and one of the best defensive players we've seen in recent history, Richard Sherman, off the list, and you're left with DJ Hayden, Brian Poole's probably the best guy on there. Garyon Conley, is a name you'd recognize, but not a lot there in terms of being able to find additions for the cornerback slot if Pittsburgh needs help during training camp. Because as we stand, Hayden and Sutton are going to be your two starters, but if there's an injury, if Sutton were to struggle, if Hayden starts to show his age, what's there really behind them? Brown, Lane, I don't think it's a terrible secondary group, but it definitely is one of the weaker position groups, if not the weakest on Pittsburgh, right? Because we love their linebackers, we love their safeties, we love their pass rush, at least from a defensive perspective, it's the weakest position group. And so you start to kind of go, okay, the Sherman one does impact us, not because we were guaranteed to sign him, but because it takes one more name off of a potential list if you were to need to go sign somebody during training camp or during the start of week one if the secondary were to get, obliterated for the first couple of weeks. So a story that needed to be talked about and one that needed to be said, but it is a personal story that is sad for Richard Sherman. We hope he gets help. We hope he figures things out and that justice prevails. But also from a football standpoint, one less name for the Steelers to go ahead and look to sign from a cornerback position. Now, I think the cornerback is probably the weakest position group on the entire Steeler football team. I mean, offensive line potentially up there, but I think cornerback is a little bit weaker. Do you agree? What is the Steelers' weakest position group right now in the entire organization? What would it be? I mean, is it cornerback? Is it, offensive line? Is it something else? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section right now. All right, final quick story here, which you guys will enjoy, and that has to do with the man, the myth, the legend, and Troy Polamalu. He is reportedly going to go back to Heinz Field for the first time since walking off as a player back in January of 2015. You go, geez, he hasn't been back to Heinz Field in that long, and truth be told, no, he is not. And so he is returning potentially this season for his induction to the Steeler Hall of Honor. They're going to do an induction ceremony at some point during the season, and Polamalu released a statement saying he's planning on going ahead and, of course, being there. Now, Polamalu is also being inducted to Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's 2020, right, because he was inducted last year, but he's going to get his bust this year, and Dick LeBeau is going to go ahead and introduce him because, of course, there was no ceremony last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In terms of the Hall of Honor, quickly here are the other names that are going to be thrown up there. You get Troy Polamalu, James Ferrier, that's a name I recognize from when I was a child. Greg Lloyd, Mike Wagner, and Dwight White as well are your 5 Hall of Honor, basically the Steeler Ring of Honor, right? It's the same basic thing, the Hall of Honor induction that will take place at some point during this season. So good news for Troy. He's going to get a crazy good, terrible Tallow welcome back whenever he comes back to Heinz Field, and we'll see. Hopefully that happens at some point this season. All right, ultimate for today here on our Steeler Talk video. I'm your host, Thomas Mott. Make sure you guys, again, are subscribed. Plenty of great content coming up next couple of days and weeks, and as we get closer to training camp, so hit that button, the red one down below me, to help out the channel and also be notified whenever we drop our latest videos. Again, ultimate for today here on our Steeler Talk video. I am your host, Thomas Mott, as we go ahead and sign off. Stay safe out there. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your